And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host, Dan, aka smAsho Mash. Today we're going to be talking about how Tucker Carlson now a proven racist. Oh my God, he's a proven racist. Oh noes. Magnetar, carbon monoxide, and some electrons finally showing up. First we're going to look at the sun here in 193 angstroms. Large equatorial coronal hole, 0 sunspots. Some earthquakes showing up in some weird places. We'll get to it. We might even say the words Ariana Huffington. Oh, we're going to say those words. Some hilarious news stories. Let's take a look at the sun here on HelioViewer. Here are the fields. And we don't see a lot of magnetic organization there. Let me just press refresh. And there you see the current state of affairs. Here's 304 angstroms. Some minor filamentary activity up in the northeast. And we are seeing a little bit of activity down here as well. That's a place that I'd be keeping an eye on. And when I say keeping an eye on, well, the pun is intentional. Let's look at the real-time solar wind next to see it has waned as I forecasted yesterday. We see a decrease in the solar wind speed all the way down to 378 kilometers where it is now. Solar wind density about 3.1 protons per cubic, 3.03 protons per cubic centimeter. And we see a coronal hole magnetic connection like phi angle here as we see 159 degrees. KP index is at 1, having been only at 1 or 0 over the past 12 hours. Next we'll look at geospace magnetosphere movies, and you can see this lower density solar wind coming in from the left of the screen. And keep in mind, low density shows up as white, high density shows up as dark blue, and let's let that play through as it refreshed. Anyway, that's 4 hours of data there. We'll also look at the pressure. And there's the data on pressure. And we've got some electrons back. So those Van Allen belts should be a little stronger than they were, say, 5 days ago especially, as we've seen the highest levels of electron flux that we've seen since April. So we went a solid 2.5 months there with incredibly low levels of electron flux. We'll show you the graphs momentarily. We've got a second Van Allen belt forming there, see? On the moon-night meridional plane view, you see that second Van Allen belt forming. And next we'll look at ground magnetic perturbations. We don't see very many of them. Certainly not being induced by a lot of solar wind input. Fairly steady here. We don't expect to see strong auroras or anything like that. There's 4 hours of data of ground magnetic perturbations. Not a lot going on as far as that goes. Next we'll look at some custom HelioViewer movies. Here's the North Solar Polar region. Some filaments there in the northwest, nothing to write home about. And we are currently in the North Pole current sheet. Here's the south region, a little more interesting going on down there. Some filamentary behavior there. Those dark regions in the middle of your screen there, those are some plasma filaments shown here in 171 angstroms. Let's talk about fund. Fund. To make provision of resources for discharging the interest or principal of. To provide funds for. To place in a fund or accumulate. To convert into a debt that is payable either at a distant date or at no definite date that bears a fixed interest. Why am I talking about it? Because please fund our operation, since we get practically zero income from Google AdSense scamware. And so, yeah, please consider becoming a patron, the true source of funding. Thanks to our patrons. We're also on Subscribestar, and there are other places to visit below the links. Look for some Amazon affiliate links coming soon. We've got some things to shop for, and we're going to share with you what we're shopping for. By the way, we're streaming live to Twitch, if you didn't know. And please don't forget to press like and subscribe over on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Thanks to our new subscribers. Thanks to our old subscribers. Thanks to our medium-aged subscribers. We are also on BitChute. Thanks for the nice comments over there. Cheers, everybody. Thanks, new subscribers, etc. And welcome to another edition of the Smashlights, where we talk about literally anything we feel like talking about. Whether we're talking about cheddar, or we're talking about COVID-19, the scary, scary, spooky pandemic caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and the ridiculous responses. First, we're going to talk about our social media. Did you know that we're on Locals, Dave Rubin's new social media site, smashamash.locals.com? We're also on minds.com, which I consider to be the future of social media, unlike Facebook, which is a dead zombie, employing more lawyers than it does software engineers, undoubtedly. We're also on Twitter. And I did not compose a new method. Shout out to Terrence. How's the cycling going? Please leave us a comment. We are also on other social media. We're all over the internet, really. I mean, we're on Facebook, facebook.com/smashomash. We're on Gab. I thought I had more. Oh, there we go. There's Gab. I think there's Gab. Okay, let's try again. All right, there's Gab. So we're all over social media. Check us out on those locations. Also on Instagram. Oh my God, who is that? Is that the Taliban? Oh, no. No, it's not the Taliban. It's just No Malarkey Joe. I've been growing my leg hair for you, Joe. I'll be interested to see if you enjoy it. Maybe you can meet me at the pool, if you know what I mean. Ariana Huffington is dressed like a complete COVIDiot. Check out her matching cloth hypoxia-inducing face mask. Truly COVIDiotic. Hey, Ariana, you're looking kind of sick. We hope you feel better. And take that stupid thing off your face. Now, in the title, we talked about how Tucker Carlson is racist. Racist. What did he do? What he did was he talked while having this image on the screen.
Is a top contender.
And people lost their you-know-what over it because it says, we have to fight to preserve our nation and heritage on the footer down there. And apparently having that on the screen while talking and having Ilhan Omar and Tammy Duckworth's faces on the screen at the same time means Tucker's racist. Racist. Hide your children. Ooh, it's so spooky. Let's talk about BuzzFeed News. So since the Trump campaign isn't selling face masks, Etsy sellers are stepping in. I want one of those. What about you? A man and a woman were charged with a hate crime for painting over a Black Lives Matter mural. Let's talk about safety. Are you willing to trade your liberty for it? Here's an article from the American Institute for Economic Research about how safety first is a bad ideology. When you walk out of your house, are you scared and spooked because you're afraid you're going to murder somebody by walking down the street alone, not wearing a mask? Well, if you're on shared ground or a community space, during the pandemic of 2020, community spaces that are private venues like Disney have closed down. And I'm sure you're all too aware. Anyway, perhaps read the article on American Institute for Economic Research. We won't spend a lot of time. Do you remember the Karen incident associated with this African-American gentleman here who was bird watching? And the Central Park Karen ruined her life by putting up a stupid viral video? Well, he doesn't want to help with the investigation because he thinks she's suffered enough since the May encounter destroyed her career and reputation. Amy Cooper was charged on Monday with falsely reporting an incident She also was fired from her job. It's called cancel culture, folks. Yeah. Got to make sure that we cause people to lose their jobs. Let's see what Sean King's been doing. Sean King, the white guy who thinks he's black. I know he's recently been celebrating the fact that he got somebody fired. Congratulations, Sean King. You are a true genius. I think it's on his Instagram. Sean King, a white guy who believes he's black. It's quite brilliant. It's totally not racist. So this guy here who is getting Karen, check this out.
You're 6 feet away from you. You're harassing me. I'm not harassing you. You're coming close to me. You're coming close to me.
Anyway, everybody's so stoked that this guy lost his job. And he got doxxed, I think. Daniel Maples, yes. Sean King, well done. You are quite the social justice warrior. A white guy who identifies as black. Cheers. Governor Gretchen Whitmer, which is the top COVIDiot in Michigan, speaks out about reopening. She's not going to be bullied into moving before it's safe or having a brain. Let's talk about elder abuse. Now, Andrew Cuomo has been identified as one of the leading mass murderers in modern history. Your dead family member is now in a better place, smiling down on his brilliant governance. Will he be held responsible? Well, New York will try to hold employees of nursing homes responsible as if it was their fault when the governor forced nursing homes to take infected patients who've tested positive for COVID. New York officials report this week concluding that the high number of coronavirus deaths in state care facilities was the result of infected workers, not sick residents. That's a great state up there. Well done, Andrew Cuomo, New York's top COVIDiot. Anyway, what a pathetic and ridiculous response to Fisher-Price, my first pandemic. Congratulations, mankind. You've behaved like true COVIDiots. I've survived a global pandemic so far. And by the way, your ancestors survived real catastrophes, unlike this one, a fake catastrophe. As the mortality rate drops down and down to the levels that I forecasted months ago. Let's talk about Göbekli Tepe, as we've got an entire topic thread on smashomash.com/forum about Göbekli Tepe. Thanks everybody for posting about it. And Mary's recent post. And by the way, I just wanted to make a comment about this. Is it possible that unidentified aerial phenomenon are ancient technology from mankind that was somehow discovered in an archaeological site, perhaps? Maybe our ancestors were flying spaceships. Spaceships don't necessarily prove extraterrestrial life. Let's move on. To talk about how you should either vanish or make America not suck again. Now, if you're an international viewer, we appreciate you as well. You could just Mensa instead. No, not the Organization of Geniuses. Make Earth not suck again. Have you noticed that Earth sucks lately? Well, it's up to you to make it not suck. Mensa, make it not suck again. It's up to you. And here ends today's Smashlights segment, hopefully on an uplifting note. Let's look at some more stuff. Comet Neowise has turned into an awfully good comet, now visible to the naked eye before dawn. This one's from Flagstaff, Arizona, one of my favorite towns. And we're here at spaceweather.com to look at the 10.7 centimeter radio flux, which is at 68, having come down from 69 yesterday. Again, no sunspots, no surprise. And the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard still not showing us the information that we want to see. So, dear Noah, please fix the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard, as we would like to show the graphs. Let's just show the graphs for the solar minimum. There you go. Let's zoom in. by the way, that's sunspot number, folks. And no surprises there either. Next, looking at some more data here, the GOES X-ray flux is quite flatlined. As we see, no sunspots, no surprises there. The GOES proton flux, similarly flatlined. GOES magnetometer showing some pretty wild striations here. And that's all has to do with the amount of coronal plasma. And there's another dense region. You're going to see this drop way down today. And we're going to see very low readings after seeing pretty high readings yesterday. Here's how I know from looking at the Gong 2, part of the National Sunspot Observatory. This top view ecliptic plane field plot is showing us still solidly in the North Pole current sheet, and I would anticipate us to remain there for at least another 24 hours. As we don't see any significant activity north of the equator. North Pole charged current sheet shown here in blue, and you can see these dense regions of plasma and these diffuse regions of plasma. That's what's causing the differences in the GOES magnetometer. Here's a line of sight field plot showing us the B field remaining quite symmetrical here, shown in blue, the B field, also the interplanetary magnetic field, the one on which you likely live. Please leave a comment if you're viewing from a different multiverse, universe, solar system, timeline, plane of existence, etc. Here's the view from stereo A, and we don't really see any coronal mass ejections. Here's a view from SOHO's LASCO C2. Nothing to really write home about there. Here's a C3, and we don't really see any ejecta from that zoomed out view either. Let's talk about some cosmology stuff. Now, astronomers have determined that this neutron star is like 250 years old because of its properties and because of misunderstandings of the way stars form, etc. Anyway, Swift J1818.0-1607 was found to be a rare type of slowly rotating neutron star magnetar. And this is a sort of a unique one, and that's why it's believed to be only between 240 and 320 years. It has to do with its rotational period, and I don't really think this is too exciting. I thought we would maybe be able to follow the transients of Swift J1818.0-1607, a catchy name, but turns out we can't really. Anyway, spinning every 1.4 seconds, it's the fastest spinning magnetar known and possibly one of the youngest neutron stars in the Milky Way galaxy. And of course, I've got concerns about all this. It does have a steep radio frequency drop-off as its spectrum changes during its outbursts. So maybe have a read about that one at scitechdaily.com. Let's talk about NGC 4321 and what we're looking at here. And doggone, that's something to look at right there. That's like yowzers. Those are carbon monoxide emissions. And so we've got some very interesting structures here. So first of all, you've got this really obvious oval, and then another oval with a different plane. And then you've got this dotted line down here, which looks very much like a filamentary structure. Some close-ups of these areas down here, largely believed to be, quote, star-forming regions, end quote. This phys.org article showing us a close-up of that southern spiral arm in NGC 4321. And there you can see these areas that are believed to be star-forming regions shown on those cyan dots. And the real question you got to ask yourself, folks, is did these stars form on a filament, or did these stars' poloidal fields create the filamentary structure? That's a major concern for most people who are viewing our channel, as there are a lot of chicken and egg arguments when it comes to things like cosmology. This is what NGC 4321 looks like invisible. So let me just give you the switch here. There's carbon monoxide, there's visible. Carbon monoxide, visible. And carbon monoxide is a very common gas in space. We see it coming out of comets, and it's one of the more useful emission spectra to study. So you see some definite structures in there, These wavy lines out here, they look kind of structural. They look a little bit more like order than they do chaos. NGC 4321 in the news today. Getting back to data, here's where stuff is in the solar system. A huge pileup, and if you're getting up before dawn, you should have a great light show. You can see Comet Neowise, you could see Venus, you could see Mercury, Mars, the Moon, Jupiter, and Saturn all up there at once. And there you can see that electron flux increase. Again, highest levels of electron flux we've seen since mid-April. And there you can see finally coming off the floor here for a little bit at the end of the day. Yesterday, Universal Time. For you new viewers out there, the N's and M's mean noon and midnight local time for the GOES 16 satellite. Let's hope the GOES 15 satellite comes back online and hasn't been shot down by Indian missiles. Next, looking at the total electron content forecast. To see a little bit greater levels of electron flux shown here, this is the entire air column, by the way, all the way from the thermosphere down to the plasmasphere. And we see some small anomalies there over the Caribbean, southern Mexico, Baja California, etc. Nothing to write home about there either. But we see a small resurgence in electron flux. Next, looking at just the ionosphere, to see quite anomalous ionospheric behavior once again here. And pardon my temporary aside, we see a very discharged ionosphere on the sun side and a somewhat anomalously charged ionosphere on the night side. Let's just bring up the latest image and move on, as we've still got more things to cover today as I talk in a stilted fashion. That one coming in at 8:45 UT. We see some earthquakes in some weird places, such as this one at South Africa, which came in at 10:44 Universal Time yesterday. Let's go down the list. Here's a very deep quake near Timor-Leste. It's at 517 kilometers depth and a 4.7 magnitude. And let's scroll up the list. That one's from early yesterday also. Here's a deep one at Japan, a 4.4 magnitude at 430 kilometers. A deep one at the Philippines. So nothing over a 6 magnitude for the past 24. The largest quake happening right at the edge of the Aleutian Islands there. That one near Akiok, Alaska. That's a legit Inuit name, right? It's a 5.1 magnitude. We also saw one coming in Poland. So that's a rare spot for an earthquake there, right in Central Europe, a 4.9 magnitude in Poland. Please leave a comment if you felt that quake, our European viewers. And coming in just as we did the show, a 4.8 strikes Fiji at extreme depth, nearly 600 kilometers. Please have an earthquake plan if you're in an earthquake-prone zone. Plan to be an asset, not a liability. If buildings start to fall down, have an idea which ones, especially if you're going to evacuate yours and be killed by a falling building facade. Let's run down the earthquake list. We see Semeru back to erupting, one of the stratospheric volcanoes of the year 2020. As it explodes, it's producing a flight level of 14,000. Sangay exploding also, flight level 20,000 there. Revenador also exploding, flight level 15,000 there, and Sabancaya exploding. Intermittent emissions are producing a 27,000 foot above sea level ash plume. Please do not attempt to do the triple Lindy, made famous by Rodney Dangerfield in the movie Back to School over the caldera. Let's check out the Saharan dust. And there you have it. It's making big-time landfall here on South America. Please leave us a comment if you've got photos of that, as there should be some incredible sunrises especially, and sunsets. Let's get back to what we normally look at. Flight level 25,000 winds, otherwise known as the jet stream. There are the jet streams of the Western world. Extreme meridional jet stream flow, especially in the north. Quite a concentrated jet stream in the south. Here's the Eastern world. And the northern hemisphere jet stream is all over the place. Southern hemisphere jet stream is doubled up and tripled up as well. Next, looking at pressure cells. By the way, there's a silly article. We're advancing this into the GFS forecast here. There's a silly article on phys.org about how Earth's atmosphere rings like a bell as high and low pressure systems circle the globe. Here's where things will be at 1 p.m. my time. I'm located in Lehigh Valley, if you didn't know. And thanks for tuning in, all you new viewers. Yeah, I mean you. That's right. You. Anyway, there's a GFS forecast. We see a strongly rotating low there off the coast of Mexico. We won't step on people like David Schlotthauer's toes by doing any more weather forecasting today, perhaps at a later time. And we see some heavy lightning strikes coming in here at lightningmaps.org. If you haven't checked it out, lightningmaps.org, it's good times. And we see eastern Minnesota getting pummeled again. Hey, Fargo, there's thunder rolling in. Next time you hear thunder, check it out, lightningmaps.org. We've now drawn in the day-night Terminator line. And by the way, I'll be back. Here are the water vapor maps for Africa and Europe. Water vapor maps for the Far East and Oceania. It's our value-added services. Water vapor maps for the Western world, the Americas. And you can see right here where this dust is making landfall. That should make for some, again, interesting sunsets and sunrises. And we're going to zoom in on that area over the U.S. First, we're going to look at the cloud cover. Here's the cloud cover. Looks like it's going to be some hot temperatures in South Dakota and southern Minnesota. Here is the water vapor map, and we will zoom in once again on that region. As we see some extreme cloud formation. We were looking at some extreme stuff last night. We see it again. You're going to see some rapid cloud nucleation here and sudden directional changes as this thing tries to rotate clockwise. Check it out. That is some violent stuff happening right there. And that's why we view the water vapor map. It gives us some insight into what's happening on the Doppler. So here's what it looks like on the Doppler. As these are ground-based systems, the water vapor can't hide from the NASA GOES interactive weather satellites. And there you can see that system is kind of looking like it's wanting to rotate clockwise, but it's mainly moving to the northeast. Let's actually zoom in on that, as it's pretty crazy. Some violent storms there. And Fargo's right where you would be to see the most damaging part on the northwest corner of that system. Hopefully not too much damaging hail and wind associated with that system, as that's a nasty one. And hey, Smash Team, thanks for tuning in. It's my turn to vanish. Don't forget to share the content in your social media, etc. Please visit our links below the video. Interact with us. Go set up a login at smashomash.com/forum. We're approaching 1,300 logins. Thanks everybody who did that. Thanks for flying American Smashways. And please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times. Here's some bonus features. It's the current intensitygram showing us 0 sunspots. How about a colorized magnetogram? Again, the region to watch is down here, as we see some strong North Pole polarity down there and shown in green. Again, no sunspots. There are the fields, most current. And let's close things out with a 171 angstroms 48-hour SDO video, as I've got many things to do. What say you? Leave us a comment. Let us know what you're up to today. By the way, our potato plant is quite huge. It's pretty exciting. And let's just allow that to load here. Give it a minute. You'll see the degradation of sunspot 2766, just north of the equator there. Again, thanks for tuning in. Remember, stare at the sun. Use the proper instruments like the SDO. Don't drink. If you do, don't drive. Please don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, welcome to the Neo Renaissance.